Eli is much easier to use, especially when setting up a review. In another learning management system, in order to set up a discussion forum and also in order to get to the students' papers and their reviews, I once counted and it took me 7 clicks to get it set up and get a paper. And in Eli, it took me 2.
The overall framework of Eli, I've been able to use across grade levels. I've been able to use with the athletic teams that I coach.
I've used Eli with students who are learning English as a second language, and I've taught the alphabet to them, or students that didn't even know Virginia was a state, all the way to graduate students.
The schedule's completely shifted. They're doing much more review by themselves outside of class, so that when they get to class, it's more discussion oriented.
You can see what they're writing in response to prompts right as it's coming in. So instead of guessing that a prompt may not be going well, but having to wait until the paper comes in, that evidence is right there.
That dashboard and that kind of class metrics thing became super, super, super important, because I need to know where my class is struggling and where they're doing really well, because I need to be able to intervene at that time.
So I'd love to have a writers' conference with everybody. Not possible with 34 students in 55 minutes of time. But I can read quickly their stuff while they're working on it on the fly and get a handle on, who do I need to talk to? How do I need to change my mini lesson for tomorrow?
With Eli, immediately the numbers can pop up and show that there are significant things that are missing, especially with the traits identification, that are not there. And then I can quickly scan to see if they are, and if they're not, then I can totally replan the way that we're going to do the next couple of days to get them back on the path that I think that we need to go to get to those outcomes.
Using Eli helps make teaching easier because it puts everything together, so I can follow and track students. I can track them as a reviewer and I can track them as a writer, and it's all in the same place.
Eli works, I think, because it helps compile all the student writing for an assignment into one place, and then you can have very specific metrics for what that writing should look like.
Before, if we just did regular writing and peer review, I really wouldn't see the reviews the other students were providing the other students. So Eli's changed that by giving me significant insight, not just into sort of the way that they're providing feedback, but how they're thinking about feedback as well. And if I can see that, then I can also tailor some of the prompts and the assignments to better help those students help each other.
But when I actually sit down, because I can click and I can just go, look at this kid as a writer and look at this kid as a reviewer. And I can just go flip, 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 flip. So when I've got a class that's really intensive, or I'm trying to hit tons of different objectives, and I can just flip back and forth between those kids really quickly like that, I can see sometimes where I have a kid that should be performing way differently as a writer based on the kinds of review information you give somebody, or vice versa.
I can log into Eli and say, okay, so-and-so provided this type. You need to take a look at X, Y, and Z. They provided pretty good feedback in this area right here. Also, I can give them a thumbs up in Eli. It allows me to say, I highly recommend, this comes a McArdle approved feedback. Well done. This is good stuff.
So I don't have to write a paragraph about how you might revise the middle of the paper. Some student did it really well. I need to click the thumbs up button to remind the writer to pay attention to that. So pragmatically, it saves me time.
It's totally changed the way that I teach, because I'm all about changing the way, not change the way, getting them to see that they can change the way that they think. And as they do that, that's going to impact how they read and how they write and how they communicate and how they interact with the rest of their academic and professional spaces. Eli's had a significant impact on that.
I know my students got really good feedback because I saw it. I know my students created really actionable revision plans that they then implemented in their writing, which is super helpful. I know that I had better conversations with students about their writing than I think I would have if we had just done kind of blanket peer review. And I know that I got a pretty good sense where my class was at every day that I used Eli. So I never walked out of the classroom kind of being like, shoot, hope these kids figure this out. Because I knew exactly what they were doing poorly, and I knew what they were doing well, and I could address it, and I did address it, and I knew that I could see kind of the comprehending nod look sweep across the classroom, and that's always a good feeling.
So my absolute favorite piece of Eli is that I can be a writing teacher and know how to incorporate good pedagogy, but then also I can show the data that says students can't identify a thesis statement. I need to work on that, and that clearly I can get that in a couple of minutes.
I can generate a report based on traits that I build into the system, and I can use that report with all the stakeholders. I can use it with parents if I would like to, by individual student. I can use it with the administration to try to demonstrate the progress and the growth that we've had over the course of the year, and as I use it over succeeding years, I hope to be able to show even more positive growth.
And it was built by writing instructors in writing classrooms for writing students, and so I think a lot of Eli's the way it works, the way it's structured, the way it's organized, are really reflective of that. And it's built for a specific purpose, and I think it accomplishes that purpose really well.